Hello and welcome to another Bushwhacker review. Today, as you can see, we have a little bit of a different video on tap. Today we're going to be talking about 1/64 scale exclusive diecast. Any diecast that has just been produced in 1/64 scale and wasn't produced in 1/24 scale. I'm going to start off by saying a few different things. For one, this obviously is going to be a detailed review of every single car, because I don't want somebody to just like, oh, you didn't point out the B-Post logo on this car. Like, if I took a look at every single logo on every single car you see in front of you here, this would be like a 50-minute video. I'm going to go over each car and kind of review the paint schemes and stuff, but I'm just going to get that out there. And the second thing is, one of the cars in here is not a 1/64 scale exclusive. Comment below if you can figure out which one that is. I'm going to say right away, it's not this Joey Logano AAA car, because some people are going to be like, oh, I have a Joey Logano AAA 124. Why that one's an exclusive, we'll get to later. Now, there are a variety of reasons why 1/64 scale exclusives are produced. Sometimes they're made specifically for only 1/64 scale, like this car right here. What if the program cars? They pretty much make these for every single race now. So it's a nice way to kind of celebrate going to races and like have something for every race you've been at. These sometimes are free with the programs, other times you have to buy them separately depending on what the tracks want. They're pretty nice cars, they just kind of follow the look of the track and or look of the sponsor. As you can probably see, there's one back there that follows the sponsor more, where this one follows the track more. Has the black, blue, red, and white as kind of the Watkins Glen colors. It's a pretty nice looking car. For some reason, they were made on Toyota molds for a while there. I don't know why. I don't know if Toyota just bought that out or what, but like Watkins Glen, at least, pretty much everything from 2013 on has been on a Toyota body. But I like them. I mean, some people don't. Obviously, they're like fantasy show cars, but it's just like I said, it's a nice fun way to kind of have something for every race you've been at. This is a pretty nice one, too. Just clean and simple. There also are times where 1/64 scales are just made as little random cars. Like here's just a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series promo with some flames and a 94 on it. Not sure why they produced this one, but it was just something I saw at Watkins Glen one year, like one of the generic NASCAR merchandise trailers. Which, once again, something like this was obviously never meant to be a 1/24 scale exclusive. It was, it's not meant to be it was never meant to be a 1/24. It was literally meant to be as though someone little 64 that you could buy for your kids, or I don't know. I mean, some collectors like this stuff just because it's different, but it's definitely a very weird promo. And you're probably noticing this is on the WLS mold, so it's not exactly good. If nobody knows, if there are you people out there that are just like, what is the one WLS mold? What is all this stuff that's like crappy mold? This is what we people mean. As you can see, if it wants to focus, that it is just like very crappy. Like, look at the right front. You see it's like all blobby and glotchy and chipped up, and it's just like all of them, they came like this. You see like the A post has got marks all over it. It's all bubbly. Even the mold's cheaper. You see it has like screws. The wheels are a lot more like floppy and fat, and people aren't lying when there's a good mold and a crappy mold. There's a few cars in there that are from the crappy mold. We'll get to probably my favorite one later, just because how horrifically bad it is. But it's just a nice little promo, a little random piece. This is obviously not something that many people are going to know about. And then there's, of course, just the 1/64 scale exclusives that were offered as 1/24, but then it was canceled and only one the 1/64 was produced. Like here we have Paul Menard's Valvoline Darlington Throwback from 2016. This is actually produced in two different 1/64 scale versions. There was this one, which is the regular release, then there was another one that was released as part of one of those like oil jug promos at Menards stores where you could buy like a jug of Valvoline and get this car. That was actually on the crappy mold, but this one's on the good mold. So that was kind of strange that they actually produced it twice just to do the promo. There's another one of those oil cars there. You can probably see it in the back right there. But for some reason, there's been pretty much an increase in 1/64 scale exclusives lately. Like, I don't know, the last couple of years, it seems like there's been a lot. I mean, you're probably noticing in front of you that a lot of these cars are Gen 6 cars. It was a shame this one didn't get produced in 1/24 scale, because it was a very nice looking diecast. Like, just the silver with the red and the black, just made for a very nice throwback. They actually did produce the original. I actually do have one sealed somewhere, because they actually did produce Al Unser Jr.'s original, which is a car that not many people know exists. Actually, there was a third version of this made in 1/64 scale, because they produced it in the NASCAR Authentics Walmart exclusive Darlington line. So, you have your choices. I would definitely recommend picking this up. I love the Darlington throwbacks, as you probably noticed on this channel by now, so it's definitely really cool. As you see, that's not the only 1/64 scale exclusive Darlington throwback you see in front of you. Here's another one. This one was only produced in the NASCAR Authentics line. It was in the first wave, as kind of like a debut for the wave, or the line, I mean. Where here we have Austin Dillon's 2015 American Ethanol Darlington throwback, which was based on Richard Childress's old CRC number 3 cars. This one was really a surprise because, you know, it got offered in both scales. Then the 124 got canceled. Then the 164 got canceled. Everyone just kind of gave up hope on it. And then suddenly when this line came out, it was like, wait, what? They're releasing that? Awesome. They've done it a few times in this line. I really wish they would do it more because these 1/64 scale exclusives are kind of special. You see, there's a couple of them in front of you. There's another one that is only a NASCAR Authentics 1/64 scale in this set too. Just a very nice looking paint scheme, you know. I love the Darlington throwbacks, as I just said, so the more I can get, the better. I would wish that they produced all of these at least 1/64 scale, just to have a nice set of them, but oh well. Now, sometimes it's random that something is produced in 1/24 scale, and that is why we have this Logano AAA car. This is Joey Logano's 2013 AAA car, which for some reason was only produced in 1/64 scale. The AAA Penske 22 has been produced in 1/24 scale too, pretty much every year, except this year for some reason. It was really annoying because, you know, it was on the new body, new driver, everything, and then they're just like, yeah, we're just going to make 1/64 of it. Which luckily it still did get produced by Logano in next year anyways, and that one's pretty much more of a 2013 paint scheme than a 2014 because it doesn't have Auto Trader. But nevertheless, it is kind of funny that sometimes like pretty much standard regular releases just get produced in only 1/64 scale. You have to stay up to date on these cars because a lot of these cars people forget about. When they see the 1/24 get canceled, they just kind of forget that the 1/64 still exists. So it's like, wait, that still got released? So that's definitely an interesting one. The one next to it is a Spin Master release because they had their own exclusives too. In this case, you have Logano's Auto Club AAA car. Now, the AAA cars obviously been produced pretty much every year, at least in 1/64 scale. But every year at Auto Club Speedway, they have a different version that is the Southern California Automobile Club version of AAA, and has the different logos, respectively. For some reason, it is never produced in diecast form. But finally, Spin Master produced it as part of one of their Memorable Moments 2-packs with Kyle Busch's Interstate Batteries car. And this is what you have in front of you. It was kind of cool to finally get an Auto Club version of this car. I wish Logano would produce it already, because it would make kind of something a little bit different, since they keep producing the same paint scheme every year, but made for a nice diecast. I never really liked the Spin Master cars too much. They seemed a little too wide and fat for me, but they still made for some nice diecast. See, there's also sometimes cars made produced only for, like, children, as that you see in front of you. Here's one of the Kevin Harvick Budweiser cars, but as you see, it doesn't have Budweiser on it. There's another one back here. You see you have Keselowski's Blue Deuce back here, too. Obviously, they can't produce beer cars for children, because, you know, that's... Obviously, the sponsors don't want that. That's why they're on basis half the time. So sometimes they produce these as kind of like, you know, a kid version. So kids can buy a 1/64 scale diecast of their favorite driver if their favorite driver happens to drive a beer car. They're pretty generic, as you can see. One time in Keselowski actually had one that was actually like a completely new paint scheme. It had like gold lightning bolts throughout the car. It looked kind of cool. But this one not so much. This one just looks kind of strange without the beer glass, just like a random white swoosh. And Harvick's looks kind of hilarious. It's all simplified without all the like beer can markings all throughout the entire car. But you know, they don't really do this as much anymore. Like did they even produce a Busch Beer Harvick car that was a kiddie car or any of the ones lately? I think as most drivers have other sponsors now, they don't do it anymore. Like, if you want a Harvick 1/64, just get a Jimmy John's 1/64. If you want a Keselowski, just get an Alliance Truck Parts or a Worth. So I don't really do this as much anymore, but it was kind of funny when they did. Next up, we have kind of a strange 1/64 scale exclusive, and that is Trevor Baynes' 2011 Motorcraft Ford. As you remember, in that year, he did win the Daytona 500, and that was produced in 1/24, 1/64, and pretty much everything. But for some reason, when they actually produced the standard finish of that car, like after the fact, they were like, oh, everyone loves this car. They only produced it in 1/64 scale. It's kind of strange. It was a nice throwback and everything, so I kind of wish you could have gotten a clean 1/24 of it. But I mean, we did in 2012, so it's really not too bad, but made for a nice diecast. Like I said, this paint scheme I loved. Just the classic Wood Brothers colors back. It was really cool to see them back, and the fact that they're still back. Next up, we have a kind of another strange one. That's Joey Logano's 2009 GameStop Toyota. This is back in the age where Logano was just beloved and pretty much overhyped, like every young driver that has talent is. Currently, you have Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, whatever. But this was offered in 124 and 164 scale initially, and then it was canceled, and then it was reoffered in a hood open only Gold Series 124, and then it was canceled again, and then suddenly they just got a 164 scale produced. This is a very rare 164 scale diecast. You cannot find this very easily for some reason. There actually is a 124 scale prototype out there. They did actually get to the prototype stage, and there's a few of them out there. I've seen before pictures of them. It's a nice car. Like I said, the GameStop cars always look fantastic, so it's a shame we didn't get this in 124 scale, but it's still made for a nice 164 scale diecast, a nice little kind of GameStop promotional piece. Which that's another way that these diecast lines get produced is through company promos. That, a company wants a diecast of their car, so they do get one produced. Sometimes they don't want to pay for 124, so they get a 164. Like this one, that was Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s Cargill Beef Wegmans promo. It was available in Wegmans supermarket stores in the fall of 2014. It was kind of like Christmas presents. Some of the stores actually still have this. I walked into a store a couple months ago, and they still had 10 of these things. It's a nice car. Like I said, the Cargill Beef car wasn't even produced anyway, so the fact that this Wegmans car showed up was really awesome. This was raced in July. They had a few different Cargill Beef cars, and they all had different supermarkets on them. There's one for Winn-Dixie, one for Wegmans, all that good stuff. One for Walmart, I think, or was it Sam's Club? There was a blue one at one point too. But Wegmans is kind of a local store for me. It did start up here in New York, so it was kind of cool to actually get them on a diecast and NASCAR in real life, and then them in a promo piece anyways. I would have liked the 124. I would have actually ordered the 124 just because it is a local sponsor, but it was really shocked when somebody just posted this on one of the forum boards at one point. Just was like, oh, hey, look, a Wegmans promo. And I was like, wait, what? So anyway, I had to scoop this car up and it got released. It's a nice paint scheme and everything. Like I said, it's just a cool car. Like I said, if you're in a state that has Wegmans stores, I'd check over by where the toy Hot Wheels and stuff are, because they might still have a few of these. And on sale. Here's another promo that was kind of actually local to me, and that is Boris Said's Genesee beer car. Genesee beer is another kind of upstate New York type sponsor. So it was really cool to get this diecast. This was the paint scheme used at Watkins Glen in 2013. Or was this 2015? But this did come on a base. As you can see, when they're on bases, you can see they actually do have little holes where the screws were. If you try hard enough, you can get these off bases. There's smart ways to do it, and then there's the ways that people just destroy the bases and twist them off or something. But that's a story for another day. It's cool to one, get a Boris Said car, one, get an underfunded car, and again, get sponsors that are kind of local. Obviously, this isn't going to fit for everyone because, Wegmans and Genesee beer aren't something that people in, Missouri are going to have or even know what the hell it is. But when it's up here, it's kind of cool to get. I believe they actually did sell these as part of you could get it with a pack of Genesee beer. I remember somebody saying in Watkins Glen that year they actually did find it attached to a pack of beer. I just bought this off of the Go Fast Racing site. They had these available. That's a nice little diecast. Another promotional piece you see in front of you is a couple of these Waffle House cars. These Eric Amarillo, Richard Petty Waffle House cars. For some reason, both times, they were offered in both scales, canceled, and then they were kind of just came out as promotional pieces. This one is definitely a much rarer one. This one was kind of sought after for a while, but then it popped up in the Fanatics tents. So that was the way that some people got it. Because for a while, you could pretty much only get it through Waffle House's rewards program, which for a lot of people that don't have Waffle Houses really couldn't take advantage of. I mean, this one's basically just the regular Smithfield car with Waffle House on the hood, but it still makes for a kind of interesting, unique diecast. Then you see the next year they actually did produce it in an actual paint scheme. They actually made an entire Waffle House paint scheme. And this is a beautiful looking car. The petty blue with the bright yellow just made for a very nice looking diecast. I would have almost probably gotten the 124 if it actually got produced because it would have just looked awesome. This is a very nice looking car. Here we have Austin Dillon's Patriotic Dhow car from 2015. This is another one that was produced only in 164 scale. Obviously, we're talking about that, but it was a very nice looking diecast. Look at the metallic silver on this thing with the Patriotic banner. It just looked like a cool car. Which really, it seems like the Dillons just don't have much luck getting stuff produced anymore. If you notice, look on the DNP list, and there's a ton of Dillon stuff on it every year. I don't know if the 3 hype just wore off or what, because there's still some nice paint schemes. Like, I would have gotten a few of these Dillon cars. Like, this one I probably would have gotten a 124 of. There was that Pumpkin Spice Cheerios car I probably would have gotten a 124 of, but sadly they just don't get produced sometimes. Very nice looking diecast, like I said. But just another cool paint scheme that you can only get in 1/64 scale. Here's one that a few more people are probably confused about, saying, wait, how is that one not a 124? Well, you see, this one was produced by Spin Master and is a chase version of this Jimmy John's paint scheme. It has the yellow number, yellow splitter, and they forgot the yellow spoiler. But nevertheless, or no, they forgot the yellow windshield banner. This was before the spoiler. So that kind of flew off the look of it a little bit, but it was still the only way to get chase stuff. The chase diecast, they actually offered every single one in 2014? And then after that, they just offered a few, and then this year they pretty much only offered Chase Elliott's as far as standards go. So it's kind of a shame. But Spin Master at least gave us a few of those things. Here we have a couple more of the Watkins Glen program cars. You see these ones had a little more of the sponsor colors with the Cheez-It. I did like this one with the actual red Cheez-Its on the side. Cheez-It apparently left Watkins Glen, so that's a shame. We won't get cool cars like this. Still waiting to see what the sponsor actually is, see if it's anything fun. This is on the PTC mold. Yeah, both these are on the PTC mold, which is better than the WLS mold, but not as good as the EL mold. But you see, these are still on Toyota Camrys. Did they actually update the mold? That was good. Like, you know, I was always wondering that when they updated the Toyota body, the promos were going to get updated too, or they were just going to use up all the old molds. So that was nice to see. Next up, we've got Casey Mears' Geico military car. Now, this was truly produced as a promotional piece. You could get, they gave these away at one time. It's on like a card back. It's not even on one of those boxes back there. It's like literally on a flat card with like the car like sitting like this. Kind of like you saw with the Valvoline 2-pack with Dale Jr.'s Throwback. Which I hate when they pack something like that, because they're just hard to display. Like, those boxes you can display pretty well, but the flat card backs really can't. But this one was given away at tracks, kind of became really rare. Then they ended up throwing the rest up on the Casey Mears like store, so you could buy it then, which is how a guy got it. It's a cool car, you know, it's just like the regular Geico's car, but in kind of a camo look with the military gecko on the front. Nice looking car. One car that I'm very disappointed didn't get made in 124 scale is this one in front of you. Jamie McMurray's Mac Tonight Darlington Throwback. This is one of my favorite Darlington Throwbacks, and the fact it got canceled in 124, it just was awful. I even pre-ordered this in 124 scale just because I had the original. If you know, I've reviewed the original Bellier car on my channel before. And this is just one of my favorite paint schemes of all time, so the fact it came back as a throwback was awesome, and then all we got is a 164 scale. Like, how is this? This was a lot of people's favorite throwback, and it didn't even get enough orders to get a 124 made. Nobody wanted a 124 made. Like, come on, people. This is on the good mold, so that's at least a plus. Pretty much all the cars now are made on the good mold, except for some of the promotional pieces. Though Matt Kenseth's Tide car is produced on the crappy mold for some reason, and looks awful. But apparently they're getting re-releasing that on the good mold in the NASCAR Authentics line, but that's a story for another day. That's a very nice looking diecast. Here's another Darlington throwback that was only produced in 1/64 scale. We got Regan Smith's Nikko Road Rippers Alan Quickie throwback. Obviously, you know, a driver I really love on this channel is Alan Quickie. And it was cool to have 2 throwbacks to his car this year. I was more disappointed this thing getting produced in 124, but then Greg Biffles came around and that one's getting produced in 124 and not 164. So, I have that on pre-order, so you'll see a review of that one when it comes out. But it was cool to get 2 of the same paint scheme like that, because Alan Quickie was just such a great driver, and the Hooters 7 was just such an iconic paint scheme. So it's no surprise that people made it twice. You have to wonder if this car... the Hooters car came out after this one, so you have to wonder if this one came out and Hooters were like, wait, we should get back to NASCAR. We want to see our car back. What if the spotters were confused that day? Here we have Ron Fellows' Canadian Tire car from 2013. Ron Fellows for a while there came back for kind of the road course races like a road course ringer. But most of his time stuff wasn't produced, but it finally was in 2013. This was a Circle Sport 33, so it was kind of an underfunded car too. Kind of a nice paint scheme, you know, you have the metallic silver with the red flames and everything. And, you know, it was just kind of cool to get a Ron Fellows diecast, because, you know, they don't really make Ron Fellows diecast. Kind of like that Boris said Genesee beer car. For whatever reason, they just don't like to produce some of these more unique cars that make for cool diecast. Which is definitely a shame, because they do make for interesting diecast. Here's another NASCAR Authentics exclusive for Lionel. This is another car that was DNP'd across the board and then just randomly popped up in the NASCAR Authentics line. This is labeled as like Tony Stewart's Mobile One Americana car or something. I'm not surprised it got canceled initially because it was basically the same as the Salutes car, but just had like, the Salutes one had just a bunch more like stars and stuff in the blue, and then this one was just kind of like a simplified, just more American colored version. This is kind of a look that I like Mobile One cars to have better than the kind of like black, white, and red like graphical design. I think the white cars just always look nice. So it was cool to actually get. I wish they would do this more often. There was two a while back that were just completely exclusive. There's another DNP car coming up in the next few ways, but that one was produced in 124, so it's not as fun. Here we have one Pablo Montoya's Axe Apollo car. This is a beautiful paint scheme from 2013. It was really a shame it didn't get produced in 124 scale. For whatever reason, it got canceled, and for whatever reason since then, they really don't make Axe cars or even offer them. Which is a shame, because Axe has some really awesome graphical paint schemes. This one looks cool. It has, like, looks from space. You have a view of the Earth. Looks cool. Got an astronaut on the front. Just a cool-looking car. I see we're getting down to the wire here. Here we have a completely just promotional piece. Lionel Racing made their own diecast. They occasionally seem to do this every couple years. It was just kind of a fun little piece, you know. See, it has Lionel Racing on the windshield banner, just Lionel Racing all around. I like when companies actually kind of produce like a, you know, program car for themselves. It makes for a cool diecast. I don't know if they're trying to use up some of these molds. I think this is the, yeah, it is the PTC mold. You can tell by the actual mold is different, but if you're ever doubting yourself, just look on the bottom. As you can see, it says PTC right there. That's a cool diecast. Some black, some red, some checkered flag pattern. Looks cool. Here we have some more Spin Master exclusives, as you can see in front of you. Obviously, with a different company, you're going to have a lot more exclusives. Here we have Regan Smith's Suave Men car. One thing I've always hated about these Junior Motorsports cars is like day glow neon yellow splitter that they add on them. It throws off the look of the car completely. I mean, I know there's some like reasons for it, like, oh, you can see the wear better on it and whatever, but I think it looks completely stupid. It even looks stupider on these Spin Master molds because they're so fat that it's got this like gigantic neon yellow splitter. But nevertheless, it was still a nice paint scheme, and a lot of these 7 cars, whether it was Regan Smith or Justin Allgaier, do get canceled a lot, so it's good to get one of them. Here we have Bobby Labonte's Kingsford 47 car. The 47 cars were not produced for a while there, so it was cool to get one. And this was basically one of the final few Bobby Labonte 47 cars produced before A.J. Allmendinger took it over. So it was cool to get one. This car definitely got a little bit rare because of that. Spin Master also had a NASCAR Salutes line that had a few different exclusives. This is just one of them, but this was Martin Truex Jr.'s Napa Auto Parts NASCAR Salutes car. See, it has a few different flaws on it, but these Spin Masters did have a few flaws there for a while. This isn't even a Gen 6 car, which I think you can see why this is so fat. This almost looks as the size of a Gen 6 car. But nevertheless, made for a cool diecast, and it was always nice to get exclusives in the Spin Master line. Here we have a couple more promotional pieces for the program at Watkins Glen. Here's 2012 edition. This one, again, had more of the colors of the track than anything. I don't even think they had a sponsor at this point. Was this the year that was just like the Finger Lakes 355, I think? So, if this race doesn't have a sponsor, you'll probably just have like a track program car produced, as you see right here. Now, this one is just hilarious. This is a perfect example of why this WLS mold is so bad. Just look at that front end. Like, my God, look at this thing. You're not supposed to see this blue either. All this blue is on, like, the color of the car underneath the wrap, so you're not supposed to see that. It is just all warped, all awful. Nothing is placed right. Nothing is, like, fit right. This is why people hate the WLS mold, because that is just, like, absolutely unacceptable. Here's just some more that are kind of more recent that I, didn't even take out of the box. Here's one of the kind of NASCAR program cars for NASCAR Salutes program, as you can see. Had a whole special box artwork. This is another one that kind of appeared at tracks. Has like some interesting kind of red rims, as you can see there. It's like got a red line around the rim. Kind of wish they would do that more often on 1/64 scales. But this is kind of one of those, kind of like that 94 car we took a look at a while ago that just, just kind of pop up randomly. They even gave it the Patriotic windshield banner. That was a nice touch. Here we have one that was produced by Ford this year, and they were given out at Homestead Miami Speedway. I was able to get one thanks to a friend of mine. It was basically just a Ford Fusion kind of Ford Performance program car. Since that is like, you know, the Ford EcoBoost 400 or whatever. So, nice little diecast. This was another one that was added pretty much. You have to get a bottle of oil to get, which I just wanted because it was kind of cool. But it's Alex Bowman's Advanced Auto Parts Junior Motorsports car. You had to buy like a 5-quart jug of Vaseline. Here's another way to tell if it's on the crappy mold. Is instead of having the chrome look to them, which I don't think any of these do. No, they're all old. Or they're all crappy molds here. But as I said, the program cars often get produced on the other molds. But instead of like the chrome banners, you could see, like if you watched any of my videos, how the silver stickers normally chrome, how this one's kind of dull. For some reason, the other factory can't get chrome stickers working for whatever reason. And last but not least, here's kind of a special one they produced this year. This is an Indianapolis Motor Speedway exclusive diecast for Tony Stewart's final year. As you can see, always a race champion. Always a racer, forever a champion. If you're a Tony Stewart fan, you definitely wanted to pick this car up. Another problem with these boxes, you see they don't stay open, they don't stay closed on these crappy molds. They just do not want to ever stay closed. So this was a nice little diecast. It was definitely cool to get kind of something as Tony Stewart's last year. And that's about everything we're going to be taking a look at today. As you can see, the 1/64 scale exclusive line does reach out across many different types of diecast. As also, there's plenty of reasons for it. Some of these are rare, some of these aren't. But if you want them, I definitely look out for these cars, because it does make for some interesting diecast. 1/64 scale, if you don't pay attention to both scales, you're going to miss out on diecast no matter what you are, or whatever you collect. But I think that's all I have to say. This has been a kind of discussion video of 1/64 scale exclusives. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.